It's also not bad into Beastmaster, like at all. I think we've seen in Eastern Europe, Munkushi is his name. He's like a Monkey King spammer. He played it into Beastmaster lane and actually won the lane. So I think between him and Enchantress, they should have zero issue dealing with this Beastmaster.
Yeah, I think the Beastmaster is rougher for like the support monkey because you're so much more reliant on like playing on trees and giving vision, and that's where the Beastmaster can like really, find you and make your life miserable.
Yeah.
Dire team ban.
And wow, it's the same draw.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same draw.
Yeah.
Good Ench, you can steal some TB illusions.
Why do you think they are placing so much importance on TB, even after we brought up the Hex thing, and now you've brought up the Enchantress
10 seconds
aspect?
I mean, it is just a lot of physical damage on SMG, and Terrorblade has like really high armor.
Yep. And a TB in the Razor. Like I think it's a solid pick. Last game they kind of screwed up their lane. I don't expect to see that again.
Yeah. Also, like, I don't know, unless they changed this under my nose and I wasn't looking, Dazzle's Poison Touch is physical damage as well. So, like, even if, assuming they're putting this Enchantress in the safe lane against the Beastmaster, Poison Touch will do less damage to a TB.
I wonder how well Trient can secure the TB's lane, though. I feel like Dazzle Razor, like, double range with Poison Touch can actually make Trient's life pretty hard. Plus, you've got the kind of plasma field to chase him down over the trees. It does sound a little bit rough for Trient wherever he goes. Like, I don't think Trient is looking at this game like, oh yeah, this is going to be a fun lane.
They could put Tree in the off lane and pick a stronger 5.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it would be though, but it would be nice either. It would be nice to get something with a stun, so that when Razor goes on you, you just stun him and walk away, or something with that can reposition the TB, but I'm not really sure what that would be. Like, obviously you could do it with a Marcy, but that went badly for them last game.
Yeah, I don't think the confidence level is there for them.
Maybe like a Venge could maybe be good. You have the swap for the Monkey King. So I'm assuming this is core Monkey King at this point.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a Raging Potato Dazzle. But
yeah, race is safe lane.
Yeah, swap for that and trading in lane, not bad.
SMG still need a mid. I feel like they want to address the TB here. I feel like Zeus is definitely impossible. We've seen a lot of Zeus in some of the other regions.
Oh yeah.
More support, but I've even seen some mid Zeus. Zeus is popping off here.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Great against TB. Maybe not. There's heroes like Puck and Beastmaster with some jump potential, particularly the Puck. But honestly, I think this is If this isn't a Zeus game, I don't know what the middle. You need just magic damage.
I want to see something that can frontline a bit for SMG. You have a bunch of squishy heroes early right now. There's no one to really. I mean, Razor can just go in, obviously, but like if he's tanking your Puck spells roar or whatever, it's kind of like, oof. I'm not sure. Maybe.
Oh, they ban it.
Yeah.
Aw.
I'm not even gonna have the chance to see
it. Maybe it's like Ember. Okay, there's his Ember.
Yeah, I'll take it.
As soon as you said saying the front line and go in, I was like, yeah, Ember, it makes sense.
Yeah.
They may have been thinking Zeus. I mean, T1 were thinking Zeus.
Well, what do you think T1 are thinking now? Is that they have overall last pick?
I mean, they're pretty committed to Puck mid. I mean, they're just looking for support to probably go with the Beastmaster.
It's so awkward because like I don't want like a Shadow Shaman because I think it's really bad on pos 5. Also, you're playing into, I mean, just heroes that can kind of kill you.
They're just like playing, I don't know. What do you want to play in an Ench?
I feel like they have pretty good lockdown against Ember actually with Coil. So I guess they don't need any hexes or anything. Like I said, I just want something that secures TB's lane, like so they feel super comfortable with him.
Nothing that really.
Nothing jumps out to me. I don't think there's any like nice feeling picks here.
I want to see Venge. You can swap out of Coil. You can swap Monkey King out of his ult. Like that sounds so progress to me. I want it. I don't know if T1 played, but I want it. I know Cuckoo played it off lane a few times, but I want it. Give it to me.
So varying something like Venge a little bit more than just your basic Lion with the stun.
I think
like
Lion would be pretty bad.
Mirana or something would be like a classic SEA pick here too.
Yeah. You think they're gonna put Treant in safe lane though?
I think they're putting Treant in safe lane. As much as I don't like it either one that much.
Oh, they'll just do Marcy.
Oh, Marcy safe lane again. They're gonna run up. They're like, we've learned now. We just needed one game of practice to figure out how this lane is played. But it looks actually Marcy's going for it. Looks like.
You know what they say, there's no time like an official to learn how to play a hero properly, am I right?
Who says that?
No one, I just made that up on the spot. But to all the people who are really good at making things up up on the spot, and Mike and John will bring them in, see what they think about them going back for the Marcy again, John.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just run it back. They have maybe some idea to do. We didn't really see the Dream Coil break with Dispose, but they have a little bit more aggression coming out from Kuku here. I still think SMG has something up their sleeve, right? They have the Afu, Dazzle coming through. It's been some while. I can mix them all up.
Shadow Freeze.
Dazzle coming through. There's a lot you can do with that, and I think if you're not ready, SMG will just catch you off guard and punish you with a shallow grave.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued about this Dazzle, this Pos 4 Dazzle, so let's see what happens. I mean, the Shards is completely busted with the 2-second Hex and Shadow Poison, so I'm looking forward to it. I don't know which draft's better this game around. I feel like T1 is, but, you know, I said that last game and it didn't work out, so see what happens.
It definitely is. So I won't say who's going to take game 1, but who do you... sorry, game 2, but who do you think has the more interesting draft in game 2 then?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Thank you.
I think the
You have to
more
be quick,
interesting
though.
draft, of course, is SMG with the Dazzle.
Perfect. Gods, quickly.
Same.
Yeah? Beautiful. Well,
let's
same
see
question
Dazzle.
to you guys as we jump into game number 2 with Mike and John.
All right, thank you very much, Nat. I do feel like SMG have the more interesting draft. Whether I believe in it or not is a different question entirely, Jonathan. Do you believe in this SMG draft? Because I feel like T1 this time around, they've rectified that issue of... Well, I'm going to say it. The Dawnbreaker didn't do much, Jonathan. And I think this time giving Kuku the Beastmaster looks a lot better. What do you think, though?
Yeah, I think that gives Kuku a position where he can be maybe a little bit more proactive. It feels like Dawnbreaker in most circumstances are reactive with a Solar Guardian. So he can start these fights for his team, push out objectives for his team. You don't have to deal with a Coddle clearing out your creep wave here as well. But SMG has the mid 1. Right, this is a hero that we've seen mid 1 succeed with. Even from week 1, where it looked like they were about to take that series off of Boom, but, you know, certain disciplinary issues weren't quite hammered in. And this time around, SMG, based on game 1, they look a lot better. So, giving mid 1 a hero he's very comfy on, knows how to place the pace with, along with his refound discipline for SMG, I think this could work out their way if you're not careful.
Let's see what happens. I mean, T1, not known to really get 2-0'd by any team, let alone SMG, but SMG, we keep saying it, great team. All they've got to do is not throw. That's about it. T1, though, an even greater team, most would argue. So we'll see if they can drag this out till game number 3. I certainly feel like the draft is a little bit better off here for T1. Like, just having the Beastmaster Pos 3 over the Dawnbreaker Pos 3, which, again, just didn't feel like it did much. You'd almost argue that T1 just couldn't do anything because they didn't have a Pos 3 to play around. Dawnbreaker, you know, it's kind of hard to initiate with that hero at times.
Yeah, it felt like they were... playing around with Solar Guardian defensively more than anything else. We didn't see, again, the greatest timings from Carl there as well. Moon had an overwhelming start in his lane, slowing down the puck by a substantial amount. Let's see if they can kind of fix that up. We already see Pilot Eye chasing down, has that Blightstone start on the Enchantress, dropping Zephyr down very low, already down to just 1 tango for Zephyr. So not going to have a particularly great time in that lane. And as mentioned by the panel, Kuku is forced to go for Axis 1 because he's up against the Ench, and to an extent the Monkey King can kind of eat through those... creeps as well. And because of that, look at Pilot Eye. Just runs them down, Blightstone, right click, and nothing to stop him.
Yeah, I really like what Pilot Eye is doing here, and you are going to see Zephyr just completely ignore Pilot Eye and go for the creep pull, because that's what he needs to do. No real other choice here for the Marcy. Even blocks the large cap while he's at it, but it is certainly going to be a very tough time, at least for the first initial levels here for the side of T1 in that off lane. In fact, Zephyr still running away, but Pilot Eye can, you know, just chase them down forever. While we do have a chance, though, let's have a look at the other lanes as well. In fact, did I just see a rebound? Yes, I did. Pilot Eye going a bit too far, maybe, but just pops the heal. It's going to be perfectly fine to just keep trading along with Zephyr. Very confidently just still sticking around, and Zephyr and try and make sure that the heal doesn't do too much in the end. Pilot Eye, though, still having that Pilot Eye impact in the Pos 5.
And just buying a lot of space for mid 1, drags the creep wave behind the tier 1, still finds the farm. So the Monkey King still feeling great in that lane. Gives us a chance to peek elsewhere. A little bit of aggression down bot here.
Under the Treant, Whitemon will go for a bit of a run. Fu unable to keep up with the Treant Protector, and you do have to be somewhat wary. And Nature's Grasp into a Metamorphosis from Gabby can mean death if you are the Dazzle, but of course in the laning stage, Dazzle just so powerful with that Poison Touch. Just the fact that you can keep refreshing it over and over again, and all you've got to do is throw a right click out. It's going to be so annoying for T1 here in this bot lane. Mind you, Gabby is still farming very effectively though on this Terrorblade, so he doesn't seem too bothered by it.
And I do love what SMG's done to kind of equalize this lane. They just cut the tree side on the left, preventing any good moves out here for Whitemon to angle out on the Treant Protector and just kind of work a lane. Even blocks out the large camp, or at least gets a D ward off and should be able to deny his sentry to open up the pulse. And you are also kind of having a very stable lane for Raging, along with that threat. As long as you have that Poison Touch at the ready, you can always run down, and Afu is getting that done. Doesn't want to directly trade with Whitemon, but once he gets a little bit of gap spacing, that does feel a lot better for the Dazzle.
Why'd I die? It's just action across the map. It's kind of hard to keep track of what's going on. Afu's still going at it with Whitemon here on the Treant now. So Whitemon is going to drop low, but Afu's gone too far, I think. Reflection is there, and they will secure first blood. Gabby able to pick it up, and Whitemon naturally going to hand the tip over to Afu.
Yeah, and just playing tag a bit too long. That does drag Gabby quite a fair bit back from the creep wave, though. So it gives Raging Potato some room to just farm, can build up in the Razor, get some EXP going. You are having a really good time up top here relative to Gabby. Mid one still finding that build up because of Pylai Die constantly cutting that cut. And at the very least here, T1 does manage to snipe away the bounties. So they pick up both. They kind of cut off the refills for Moon. Moon doesn't mind too much. He's having a great lane up against Carl. Ember versus Puck does feel really nice for Ember. You can just dodge around it slight. And the Puck does get run down by the right clicks, especially as the levels go up on that Sleight of Fist. So still kind of stable. It kind of the same scenario as game one, right, Mike? Where the laning phase, it does feel like just a lot of pressure building at that at some point it will just kind of spill over.
Absolutely. And that mid matchup, of course. The one we haven't really talked about at all, Carl and Moon. Carl, very even matchup here. Moon going to chase him down a little bit, but just wants that water rune. Wants to make sure that Carl does not get any form of regen here in the mid puck, and that he will not. He's forced to eat up some tangos and have a clarity for himself. Moon will take both water runes on his own accord on the Ember. Now bot lane. Raging, going way too far, and Whitemon and Zephyr actually showing up to punish him on this Razor. So really making sure that Gabby does not have a bad laning stage this time around.
He's off to a much stronger start. Still not as good as what you're seeing here from mid one. Pretty much a free lane for the Monkey King, which is worrisome, as we know mid one loves to play pretty aggressive with the Monkey King, just with a couple of items up. Should be able to hit that timing earlier, and whereas for Gabby, he's going to want to kind of build up on that TB no matter what. You're going to need the Manta, you're going to need the Scotty. After that point, you're kind of free to join in, but that's still a lot more time investment that T1 has to buy for the Terrorblade in comparison. So the early start for the safe laners at least still feels manageable enough for SMG. They do have to watch how much they give onto Gabby, though. You don't want your Razor to be too stalled out. The BKB timing for Raging still important, as we saw in game one.
When you talk about Gabby a lot, I mean, mid one, he's top of the CS board right now as he's just been having a great old time at bot lane once again. Speaking of Gabby, Raging Potato gonna get taken down by Gabby. Killing spree the way of the TB, and I appreciate this from T1. Like, they've left Cuckoo alone. They know he can solo the lane now. Rather just go to the jungle anyway as the Beastmaster, and instead just run a tri-lane and make sure this Razor can't do anything against the TB. Very clever from T1.
I think it's more about realizing that Cuckoo's lane is just not something they can win. Even with investment, he's level 3 on the Beastmaster. He's shoved away. Goes for a 1-1-1 build. Can't fully jungle safely this way. Pylai is constantly cutting into the triangle and just, bullies out the Beastmaster. If they accept that, they just decide to win harder under one lane down bot, give Gabby the start he needs. Afu is kind of vulnerable by himself here.
Yeah, bot lane, Afu gonna shallow grave himself up as Raging. He's gonna rejoin the fray, but Afu surely gonna die, and will. Zephyr, he might go down as a trade, but the living armor, that bonus armor makes it very hard as Raging is still going for this. With the plasma field, he will secure the kill, but can he get himself out? Well, the answer is yes, he does. He's got no regen though, so he might have to run all the way back to the fountain, but he does at least get a bit of a trade, and in fact, he won't. Cuckoo. He's going to drop solo top lane.
Aw, I was fond of that.
Yeah, gets run down. They recognize that they're just maintaining this tri-lane down bot. They bully out the weaker lane of T1 and start to build up in mid. So despite, again, that strong start for Gabby down bot, having him almost have a free lane up against the Razor, mid one still having a decent enough time up top. Gabby is leading in net worth though, so you still feel pretty good here on the side of T1, but SMG have a great start on Moon. He is winning over Carl, and they're just constantly invading the triangle. So no stack build up here for T1 for Gabby to flash form even further. We saw him kind of rely on those stacks to get the build up in the Scotty last game. doesn't look like he'll have that opportunity this time around with SMG's movement. And they might be gunning for more. They know Cuckoo's severely behind. They could just keep trying to bully here.
Yeah, just shut down the leader of T1. And look at this. Little hill troll moving their way over with the ensnare, locking Cuckoo down, who really just has nowhere to go. Mid one. We'll get the Jingu and Moon. He'll happily take the kill on the Ember. Onto Carl now, who rotated over all by himself, all the way towards the right side, but Pylai Dai already onto it, forced to use the Dream Coil defensively to be able to get his way out. And he will, even finding a courier on his way out, but Carl unable to assist with that rotation whatsoever.
And it's playing into what SMG wants. They're forcing this sort of response out from the momentum Carl wants to set from mid, takes away one big team fight spell. SMG has a little bit more of time to just build up. Moon, again, having a great time on his Ember, full orb of corrosion, max outside of fist. His damage output's feeling great. The only real weak lane for SMG that came out is Raging's lane, but he's got power treads along the right band, so he still has that build-up. He's still ahead of Carl. Raging is ahead of Carl's net worth after dying twice in lane. It's not the best of starts for T1 here.
Yeah, it does put a lot of pressure on Gabby once again, and obviously Carl last game around had a very tough time against Moon, and it seems like it's been a bit of a repeat performance here from Moon. It's really making the Puck's life a living hell, and
is under attack.
we're now down at bot lane. Raging. Retargeted again. Zephyr is going to be out with the rebound. Does have dispose as well, but has he gone too far? Well, Gabby is going to be there to back them up, but Zephyr is already down as Shallow Grave now is committed thanks to Arfu. Raging. One more hit will do it, but with the plasma field slow, they cannot keep up. Raging will be just fine. This time, Zephyr to drop.
Yeah, they just managed to get the angle using that Shallow Grave really well. They will be able to snipe Pylai Dai, but they have to even expend a Dream Coil, and their triangle still cleared out. So even if they try to commit onto mid one now, no coil to threaten, mid one's pretty safe. And that's a lot of space for Moon down mid. Just gets a solo shove in as Ember. Gets some good damage off. The living armor is going to be annoying, stalling out a full push, but this is still way too much space out for the Ember. I expected maybe a little bit more pressure onto him, but T1 hasn't had room to really rotate onto mid.
They have not.
Tower is under attack.
5-4, 2k advantage the way of SMG. Though again, Gabby is top of the net worth board right now on the Terror Blade. Just needs to keep that up with the way this game has been going. Mid one. Almost has his Battle Fury though, and that's when things get a little bit scary against the Monkey. Yeah, Battle Fury is when the farm's really going to start to escalate here for mid one. SMG, they seem very calm right now. They understand the mid lane's been shut down very hard. Off lane obviously shut down even harder. Cuckoo just about to approach 2.3k net worth on the Beastmaster. But that kind of aggression you were hoping for throughout the mid game from T1 is certainly going to be nullified now. Unless Cuckoo can find a nice way of getting this home with the Overlord. Still mid lane. They have got Moon. Nice dispose out of the coil into the Overgrowth, but a big balance strike from mid one. Not going to save the day. And they do find Moon, but it does cost them a hell of a lot for that.
Maybe just a bit of mistiming from SMG. It looked like mid one teleported first before Afu, giving him the slower TP in. If Afu teleported first and got the Shallow Grave, there might have been some turn potential with a Monkey King around. Still, a good punishment out from T1. Allows them to kind of equalize just a little bit more, give some catch-up gold onto Carl, who is starting to ramp up towards Moon's net worth at the very least. Into that Witchblade, into the Blink. And they are still buying space out for Gabby. Uncontested down bot, has been dipping in and out of his jungle. Tier 1 still stands down bot as well. You're trying to push against a Treant Protector with not the best push in the world from SMG, unless Pylai Dai finds a good creep. And that good creep could be there. You have the Hill Troll Summoner, Dark Troll Summoner, but is well protected now by the side of T1 on the triangle. So you can't really gun for it. So as long as T1 holds onto these T1 towers, as is, in their name, you kind of feel good. Despite dropping a little bit of that net worth in your other heroes, you have a lot of room to recover, and I think it was NGX, Jokam, who talked about how they like to play. They like to hold 50% of the map. T1 can easily hold 50% if their towers still stand.
Absolutely.
Dire's middle tower
Gabby's still doing a very good job here in the net worth department, so... slow game, I suppose it does kind of suit him on this TB anyway, as towards the north, they have found Pylai Dai again. T1... try and punish Pylai Dai, and we'll be able to pick him up. So Carl, able to take another kill on the Puck, and all these small kills that he is acquiring is certainly helping this Puck and being able to climb back. Something Carl desperately needed, and it does seem like he's on his way back to the top.
He's climbing up very close to Moon's net worth, so kind of equalizing. The only core that's still pretty far behind is Cuckoo. The Beastmaster can off to a slower start, but has that option to jungle. They've managed to get some D-wards going, and now T1 with a Witchblade up on Carl and the Dream Coil ready are going to go for a smoke play with Zephyr. See if they find the angle. Are gunning down bot. Raging is under vision here.
Yeah, Raging. Let me target it as Carl does have Dream Coil, and Zephyr, of course, has the Dispose available as Carl. Smoke broken. Whitemon is around. They'll miss the grass, but it won't matter because they've got the Coil and Dispose to lock him down. The Razor eventually should drop, but he will have a Shallow Grave to buy him time now. Mid one, and Moon will jump in to try and punish, as Zephyr is at least going to get caught. They'll want a bit more than that for all these rotations. Carl's still messing around here with this Dazzle. Carl does get the Dazzle, but it's going to get out with his life intact. Primal Spring is there. Mid one still chasing him down. Carl. Oh, it wasn't worth it. Arfu, he'll hand the tip over. Thank you very much from the Dazzle.
Yeah, they still find a Razor +1, but you lose your mid and your support. It feels a lot better here for SMG. Full Battle Fury for mid one is here as well, so the farm can escalate now for the Monkey King, who isn't too far behind Gabby despite all the room he's gotten for himself. And now they can start to apply some of that pressure down bot. Still a slow process to push up against Treant Protector. Once you start to find extra map control here on SMG, that's when things can feel maybe a little bit harder for T1 to sustain for Gabby as Whitemon.
Vision down. Nice timing here from Arfu, as he won't get the deny off. Whitemon, he'll be happy with the timing considering he just got free gold for himself. And well, sadly for Arfu, he didn't have any help around him to try and secure a kill. Meanwhile, topside, Pylai die. It's going to be chased down by Carl, and this might be another free kill for Carl as he does drop the Dream Coil. No messing around. He just wants every kill he can get right now. You know what? These kills are starting to stack up, John. Now he's third in net worth on this puck.
Managed to pull ahead. It's still fairly equal between all the cores except for Gabby and Cuckoo being the outliers. So you are starting to recover very nicely here for Carl. Blink, only 700, 800 gold away. And that will give you your initiation angle for the side of T1 to get that aggression going. All the while still buying that space out for Gabby. Yasha up into the Scotty next. And once you have that set up, your TB feels pretty good. The issue then is the timing of that Scotty. So it does feel like you will want it within the next 5, maybe 10 minutes max here. And considering the map space, again, fairly protected in the triangle, should be able to get done, although SMG still has a nice forward ward here. They are aware of the farming patterns of the side of T1, but aren't able to really capitalize, just focusing on building up on mid one. Instead, clears out the stacks with a Battle Fury, going for his own Manta.
Hot lane, Overgrowth, it's going to catch Moon. They've got the Ember locked down. Dispose will be there. Silence to follow up. They are trying to keep him alive with Arfu on the backside, so Moon should be able to remnant out, and does. Nice little save from Arfu. So Arfu might drop, but no, they can't even catch the Dazzle. They had Coil, but they were lacking the vision. And look at SMG, grouped up. They want to punish T1 down to the spot lane, but they're not going to find anything for their trouble. At least not yet. But Carl, he's going to be careful not to feed a kill away here. They'll see Moon again. Coil's still available. He's thinking about it. But Moon, clearly baiting. They are not going to go for the kill attempt here from T1.
Middle tower is under attack.
You're just seeing the value of that Dazzle. You have nothing to pierce through the Shallow Grave. It's enough time for something like the Ember to just bail out. Very hard here to lock down. Cuckoo hasn't quite used the Roar yet, and that's enough to allow SMG to reset and go back in. Moon feeling very confident right now.
I mean, as long as you have the Dazzle behind you, like you said, there's nothing to really go through it. Carl,
middle tower is under
be around here to try and play tag with the Ember, but I think neither one really secures a kill on each other here. Moon's main priority, just get that BKB up on the Ember Spirit. Carl going more for the mobility route and the boots to travel, and of course the blink to come out. The rest of SMG are just more than happy to keep dragging out this game, and mid one has taken over the net worth borders. Bottom lane, well, Moon, he's going to be fine. In fact, he'll go for a quick chains out back onto Carl. Not going to amount to anything though, just a bit of trading here. Back to my point though, John, mid one has overtaken the net worth board now. The Monkey King, to be expected with the Battle Fury, but definitely a bit scary times here for T1.
Radiant's top tower is
I
under
mean,
attack.
Chairblade still has good timings to meet. The Scotty timing still sort of lined up, so we should see it by 22-23 perhaps here from Gabby. I think the one thing for SMG is that they're starting to find the objectives. They find the top tier 1 as well. The mid is under some pressure here with Gabby turning around with a metamorphosis, so this could lead to a little bit more room for T1. SMG not quite in position to defend, so it's a good objective. T1 opens up the map, equalizing just a bit, holding their own mid tier 1, having a little bit more of an advantage towards the Roshan and into the top jungle if they wish. SMG though, it just doesn't look like they mind. They're happy to farm up as well. This is a very patient game out from SMG.
Arcane Rune taken. Moon trying to go into Cuckoo, but Roar out defensively here from T1, just trying to get away from this this SMG side. Not confident in their ability to be able to fight right now, and that's fair enough. T1, they just want to play the slow game this time around for game 2. See, they are the ones with the backs against the wall here. Game 1 being going the way of SMG. Big smoke up though, SMG. They have been scanned out. T1, they know about this smoke. Gabby does TP out in time on the Terrorblade, and SMG gonna find nothing for their trouble. Seems like it's right back to the drawing board for them.
Radiant's middle tower
You know
is
what I'm
under
curious
attack.
about, Mike? You know, we don't see the
What's that,
Dazzle
John?
often enough. The shard is coming out for Afu. I am curious about how valuable an Ags could be. Because using that to refresh BKBs, if your Pawnsfire could farm it, that sounds pretty good.
Here we go, Carl, chained up, rooted up, but is gonna be fine to just phase shift and just orb out of there.
Radiant structures are fortified.
We go, Raging. We'll find Whitemon. It will be at least a tree and protected a drop here, as he cannot get the overgrowth off in time, and SMG, they'll focus on the mid-tier 1 tower. 19 minutes into the game, it's nothing special, but just something they needed to get done. Maybe they could try to force Roshan, but I think it's way too early for that as well.
Radiant's middle tower
Yeah,
is
I
under
think we just
attack.
kind of want to keep building up, shut down some key areas of the map, prevent T1 from farming in their triangle. Another nice forward ward here from the side of SMG to watch T1's movement onto that triangle ramp. Starting to play poke a bit.
Playing around, and Chan is there. Hex is
Oh.
out. He has the orb, but he was not expecting the shards from Dazzle. Oh boy, that's a big mistake there from Carl, and SMG now, they could definitely Roshan. No problem.
They clear out that bid condition to turn around here from T1. T1, I mean, they still have the Roar if they want to go in. It's just risky without the Puck Dream Coil to help them get control. That's going to be a secondary life coming out early here for SMG, maintaining a 5k lead, having great farm distribution among all of their cores. And for T1, I mean, it's still funneling in onto Gabby. Scotty timing still lined up 3 to 5 minutes from now. But you have to hold up against SMG. Their aggression's piling on, secondary life from mid 1. Manta style up, he's very well protected in this hero.
That he is. Bot lane. TP in, Zephyr. Caught out immediately by mid 1, though a nice rebound out from Zephyr, but is it really going to help? Not quite. Boundless Strike will land Zephyr. It's going to go down in mid 1. He'll pick up his 4th kill of the game. Very clean thus far from our Monkey King as the T1. Once again, John, I know they want to play the slow game. At what point do you think T1, they want to start making moves as a team?
Does feel like they'd want to at least start moving with a Roar. And Kuku's been going for a lot less of an initiation sort of build, more on durability, queuing up the AC into the drums, perhaps Boots of Bearing down the line. They do have that blink up on Carl, but they haven't been able to connect with a Dream Coil. I think this passive play, well, on paper, again, you're building up in Gabby. He's lagging behind mid 1 now by a notable amount, not the biggest in 1k, but mid 1's also building into. So in Scotty, he feels really big. In Wukong's, you don't have the best way of dragging him out. This poses not quite enough, unless you have something like an Aether Lens, which Zephyr does have. So you could maybe catch him off in the rim. Still,
Balance is there. They've got Zephyr once again on the Marcy, though he will unleash, but there's the Hex out from Arfu, and now with the Sleight of Fist out, Zephyr surviving with the living armor. They're raging. He's going to make the jump in onto Whitemon, but a nice Hawk dive is there from Cuckoo into the Roar now, and maybe T1, they can force the fight, but a nice shallow grave out from Arfu, trying to buy a bit more time, still raging, is going to drop. In goes Carl after Moon, but they cannot catch the Ember. Instead, Dream Coil going to catch 2 supports here on the other side, but mid 1, he'll drop the Wukongs and zone them out. So T1 probably just going to be happy with the Razor kill. That's going to be enough for them, but no, never mind. They want to smoke out. They want more punishment for this. That's fair enough. Meta's still going for quite a while. They might at least find Pylai Die, and they will. Nice dispose there from Zephyr. They'll make it a 2-for-0 trade.
Finding some footing here on T1, getting some punishment off from SMG. SMG, I don't think they're not going to mind too much. You lose Raging, you lose Pilot Eye, not the biggest kill to follow through from the Razor. You still managed to dodge out here on mid 1. Still have 2.5 minutes on that Aegis, and the Scotty is still lining up. So you just wait for that timing here on the Monkey, or you could get solo kill here.
Quick free and kill there for mid 1. That'll be his 5th of the game now.
What's the opposite of regicide?
Seems like mid 1 might just want to wait for the Iron Scotty up before he really starts to move. I mean, Gabby already has his up though, and he wants his own Mantis style here on the TP. Though I highly doubt they find out without the Metamorphosis. Seems like SMG, they'll get themselves a free mid-tier 2 tower, and in the meantime, even trying to chase down Zephyr down at the bot lane. See if they can find the Marcy, but seems like Zephyr's going to be just fine. And in fact, the mid-tier 2 tower, it is still standing. At least for now, the glyph was enough. That'll be it. They'll protect. So with the living armor, they can slowly heal this one up.
You have this opportunity for SMG to play bot. They're grouped up in that bot jungle as well. T1 in a position to kind of intercept through the jungle, but Pilot Eye is cutting off that access point and does give vision. Should be able to at least find that bot tier 2 for their troubles. Start to take the outpost, open up the bot jungle even further, and maintain their net worth lead. Still 5k up for SMG. It hasn't been growing. So T1's done a great job of keeping up in terms of net worth gain over the time. But again, you start to run that risk. The Scotty becoming a reality for mid 1. The talent spike's going to feel pretty good for the Monkey King as well. Especially once he gets that additional Wukong's command ring. You're not going to be pulling him out with the dispose any longer. They are starting to retake control on the triangle. Walk up, march up. Still have that forward vision, somehow never dewarded on that cliff forward. They do mention dodge and T1's in it. So again, patience from both sides here, Mike. Just trying to build up under win conditions, and it's still a coil that hasn't been sprung.
That it has. Or rather hasn't. T1. I mean, does this favor T1, like the slow game? Just slightly punishing SMG every time? Is that the way to do it? They might have another punish here. Raging. Onto Whitemon. Not going to have enough damage, and now forced to pop his BKB and try to run, but the Roar is there from Cuckoo to hold him down. Shallow Grave will save though on Cuckoo. He's going to be the one to drop. Skarl in once again. Mid 1, meanwhile, does actually kill off Zephyr. He's Raging. Well, that's a big Dream Coil. Raging Potato's gone. Karl with a nice setup onto the Razor. He's going to jump again. Keep poking and prodding here as this spark, but here comes mid 1. He knows where Gabby is. There's your Wukong's command out, but they can't hold him in. Nothing to hold him in the Wukong's command. So it is just kind of wasted. And T1, I mean, they've lost the 2-for-1, but they may still be okay with that.
I think you're still happy. You save Gabby, he's not under risk of dying there. And the Aegis does expire on SMG's end, so mid 1 can't afford to be too far forward in these fights. They still have that opportunity to push towards mid though, despite not having Razor. They know that the Dream Coil's gone, a lot of that team fight disappears, and the objective is still theirs to take. So SMG doesn't mind too much either. As the map is starting to shrink down, they have access towards the double damage room that spawns as well, just need to scout it out. And their lead is still standing at 6k, 13 to 12, 26 minutes in. Mid 1, Scotty pretty much done, just 200 gold away. And you have a Monkey King with a lot of armor in the Wukongs, with good amount of slow, good amount of HP. Gonna be hard to deal with him if T1 don't get their focus right.
Same area, kind of hard underneath that dire vision. T1 gonna go back the other way. Definitely don't want to fight here. Scotty up on mid 1 now as well, so really just matching the pace of Gabby, in fact outpacing him still. You are getting to that point soon where the TB is going to get even scarier. For a Hurricane Pike into a Chrysalis, but SMG, they seem confident enough to try and move into this tier 3 tower. It is still a matter of they are the stronger team, and with the double damage active on Moon, we'll be able to get a bit more damage off, but this Treant Protector with that living armor makes it so difficult. So much bonus armor onto these towers. It's a much slower process here for SMG, and it seems like they're just happy with forcing T1 back to the base. That way they just control the map, They know exactly where T1 are, and they slow them down in terms of that net worth gain.
So it's kind of reminiscent from what we saw from SMG last game, except a little bit less aggression, but the same sort of mindset. Just hold the game in your control, force the movements out from T1, prevent them from finding any openings, and choke them out. Make them funnel their gold onto 1 or 2 heroes. Cuckoo is still not progressing that well on the Beastmaster. Smoke out from T1 though, maybe looking for that angle here.
They've got to be careful. Gabby just bought out a Chrysalis. He doesn't have buyback gold right now, John. They're just smoking out to farm. It does seem to be the case. They are just going for a bit of a farming run in the triangle. T1 still hanging around. Being very, very patient. SMG will do the same. The Moon does get spotted. Nice dispose out Zephyr. He'll hold down the Ember for a moment, but not long enough. He's fine as the Boundless does come in mid-1. He's going to rush in for this, but does back out immediately. Carl is holding down the backside, making sure Arfu does not feel confident on the Dazzle. But he does have an Aeon disc, so he's fine as Moon is in trouble again. Raw being committed, T1. They'll get away with it. In comes the Wukong's command from mid-1, but do you have the backup? No one's going to hold anyone down within the Wukong's command. So it feels quite wasted here as, well, T1, they might be able to keep chasing SMG now. Raging, still trying to fight Carl on this puck, but just doesn't have the damage output, and now Carl will just move right back in. Raging Potato has gone too far. Shallow Grave is going to save for a little bit as Carl gets caught by mid-1, taken down by the Boundless Strike, and suddenly the team fights even again.
Yeah, the sustain coming through from SMG's sick as well, though. Zephyr?
Yeah, nice toss back. The dispose catching out Raging this time around. Zephyr will rebound back towards Pylai Dai. SMG, they're not ready to fight without this Razor. So it's time to back out of there, but T1, they'll be very satisfied with that fight.
A nice 1k gold swing their way here, Mike. Finding some good punishment. Moon kind of cut off from that Shallow Grave, maybe expecting his team to kind of back him up while he's very deep in. And does pay for it, and killing off Carl does equalize a bit. Still much more worthwhile for T1. SMG gonna have to get a little bit more in. BKB for mid-1 next is gonna feel like the secure item for SMG to feel much more confident in the front line, forcing that choice on the Roar, whether or not they want to catch the Monkey with it or the Ember with it first, with their own spell immunity up. And we haven't really seen any big overgrowths from Whitemon, which is surprising. That's the one big thing they have to go through. A lot of that spell immunity here hasn't even needed to get it off just to win out some of these engagements. SMG, I mean, they're still leading in that fourth, right? Like, it's still a 7k lead over T1. You're getting that build up on Raging Moon, but that 7k lead is boiling down to Cuckoo being behind. And Gabby's managed to recover well. I mean, he's been keeping up this entire game. Carl's managed to recover really well on the puck. And for SMG, it feels like there's a control issue here, Mike. They can get off the Wukongs. They don't have the best stuns to combine with that down to their supports. You have a Dazzle and an Enchantress. They don't really naturally stun anyone. Sure, you can Hex with your Poison Touch, but it's only a 2-second hold. So finding that opportunity for a big Wukong is tough.
I think they're very reliant on the chains to hold them down in this Wukong's, but that's the point. Every time the Wukongs come down, Moon's already died. And speaking of the Devil Moon, barely avoiding another initiation here from T1. Very quick blink out on the Ember. And there's your counter smoke. They know where the enemy team is. They want to force the fight. Of course, Roshan, it's going to be up in 1 second. So now this is what both teams are fighting over. SMG, aggressive positioning, trying to get through to that Radiant Triangle. Get some vision down, but Pylai Dai going to be spotted out getting that vision down. Will de-ward the triangle of T1. So now SMG has the vision advantage, but I suppose Cuckoo always has the Hawks to send out anyway.
How is it that Pylai Dai is only one part away from a full Hex on his
That's a good
bench?
question. That's a very good question, John.
He's found a money, and that Hex is going to be really big. You already have a Hex follow-up or start with Afu. Another bigger Hex is going to be impactful here.
Oh, Moon, again, caught out. Ember in trouble, but Shallow Grave will come out early this time to make sure he's alright as they force-staff him out. Moon, he's going to make it. Another Wukong's command being committed, though, and now T1, they can certainly keep fighting. Raging is the target. Overgrowth is out. They will take the Razor down, and now with a great Dream Coil, they've caught 2 more. Pylai Dai already dropping way too low. Mid-1, popped his BKB, but just needs to run. Still Carl, he'll keep going. Meanwhile, Moon jumps in, takes down Zephyr in the backside, but gonna be careful not to get taken down himself. He has one Remnant in 1 second. Slider fist out first, Remnant away, but no, he's gonna drop. They go too far. A 2 for 2 in the end, but I believe that still favors T1.
It does. They get a lot more gold out of it, 1.5 compared to the 300 overall SMG gains with that back and forth. Might not be done here. And play poke a bit, but doesn't have enough to really lock in mid one. SMG, they're finding some good openings. They're starting to make it work, but there's still a slight aspect of overextending and just not having enough stunts. And they can't keep anyone in the Wukongs. They can save really well with the dazzle and the sustain they have on the Ench. But anything beyond that just feels tough, and you're seeing the effect of Gabby standing outside, getting the damage off with his Crystallis. Into the Daedalus he'll go, and once that's up, you need to find a way to handle Gabby. You need to find a way to jump onto that TB. It feels like right now it's all in on Moon. T1 sees that opportunity for Roche. No Metamorphosis, double damage fading soon, but SMG has to act fast to counteract this.
Very fast, John. Parlay Die gonna move in to get a bit of vision. Carl would have seen that. Does have the Dream Coil, but won't throw it out yet. It's just the Ench. You don't want to waste too many spells on this hero. Gabby, right back to the Roshan though. Again, a very quick process here right now for T1. Hawks to give even more vision as now the Dispose is there. Onto the Ench, they will get started, but mid one makes the jump in. Wukongs is available.
Oh.
Gabby, he's been caught out. There's the Hex out, but Gabby, no, he'll force stuff away. He's safe for now. Roshan, however, is not, and may just go the way of SMG. T1, they are not going to overextend for this. And SMG, they get away with Aegis for free.
Middle tower is under attack.
Managed to snag a big one, going for mid one once more, having that secondary life. And there is a smoke out from T1, looking for an angle back in, knowing that Wukong's was popped, and a couple of BKBs were popped. Mid one did pop his now, so if they catch him off guard, they might be able to deal with those 2 lives anyway.
Oh, mid one. Just working towards that nullifier right now. Needs to be careful, but there's that side device you talked about, John. Parlay Die somehow finding all this farm on the Ench. Zephyr, nice dispose. What is that range?
What?
Aether Lens plus Psychic Headband, John. Dream Coil is going to be committed Arfu. Not going to survive either. Great initiation here from Carl. Zafu will get the tip over from Carl. And Carl waiting quite a while to get that done, but does get the tip out eventually.
I mean, he was force staffing away there, Mike, and still got disposed. That looked funny.
But he's got the Psychic Headband and the Aether Lens, John. His dispose range is huge now.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. It just looks funny, you know. The force staff was going, he was zooming away, and Marcy just grabs you and like, no, you're staying here.
Nope.
Get a couple of nice opportunistic kills. Mid one still has to be a bit cautious, but isn't quite in the line of danger yet. T1 doing a fantastic job of again stalling this game. We talked about what they wanted to do. That's exactly it.
Mid one, not like, don't do this, mid one. Mid one. All right, here we go, John. Aegis is down. Moon, he's forced to start the fight. They might actually have something going. Whitemon about to drop a raw round. Mid one, he's the target. Static link out onto Gabby, though. Mid one, he'll survive. Wukong's command out. Maybe they can take the team fight. And they do. Not only were T1 baited, John, we were baited by mid one himself.
That we were. His team was ready to back him up, and it does work out this time. Bit on edge. That's a refresh reveal as well out from Raging. Does manage to get a good set of static links off. They see Carl, can't really lock him in, although Moon is still on the chase here, but can't really fully commit. That is Aegis down though, so SMG can't make any headway onto objective, so I guess we're back to that point where we're probably just gonna stall until Roche, unless you find an opportunity.
It's one of those weird things, right? Like, you kind of mentioned it. Aegis is gone now. What is it, John?
Ags being built up by Afu, so back to that question. Ags? Good juju with refreshing your allies' item cooldowns. Does that refresher? It doesn't say it doesn't. Right? It doesn't say it doesn't refresher.
That actually does sound ridiculous. Like that Ags 50% cooldown reduction. Oh, we're about to see an OS Frog moment, are we, John? From Arfu? I can't wait. I'm very excited
on
now.
Aeon Disc. Lower Aeon Disc cooldown.
Yeah, but this
That's
think of it. Maybe that's why Parlay Die rushed the Scythe, John.
Oh yeah, that's right. Refresh. That would be big. I was just thinking BKBs, but that is pretty massive. All right. Afu has it. He's been holding on to his Philostone as well. And again, back to the point. Pilaidai wasn't holding on to the Philostone. He just somehow saved up for the site. So, we'll see that impact now. Maybe this is it. Just all of this
That's
somehow
ridiculous.
being on the supports.
You can refresh all the item cooldowns?
Yeah, I'm asking, does that mean refresher gets refreshed? Because that's potentially 4 static links. No, 6 static links for raging, right? 2 plus 2 plus 2.
I'm not even worried about that. I mean, that is completely busted. Don't get me wrong, John. I assume it doesn't work. I say that, though. This is Dota 2 we're talking about, so who the hell knows? But even, BKB, Scythe the Vices? Oh, boy. We're in for some fun here with Afu. It's crazy.
It is a 180-second cooldown, though, so it's kind of like a refresh there as well. We'll see the
only takes
impact.
one
I think
team fight,
SMG has
John.
to show. True, true.
Let's see it happen. I mean, if you were to pick which person... I mean, you're still thinking about that refresher orb from Raging Potato. That's what you're thinking about. You're waiting to see if it actually works.
Yeah.
I would guess, John, with a 180-second cooldown, maybe it does work.
Right? Like it should, because that's a massive cooldown for an Ags upgrade. So, I'm keen to see. We'll see if Raging will be able to get off, I don't know, a lot of static links. Let's see. That'd be kind of funny.
Well, he's got a ninja
Triple
gear
eye
to
of the
smoke
storm.
himself up. I'm looking forward to this. Let's see what happens. T1, obviously, I don't think they've seen it yet, so may have no idea this is coming.
I don't know if anyone's seen this, Mike. This is a
We
really
haven't.
dead hero, right? Like, I don't know
why I
if they've
keep
even
asking
ran into it in
questions.
their pubs. Like, have they even ran into Ags, Dazzle, and pubs? This reworked Ags. I don't know.
That's why I'm asking. We just haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. Nobody buys Ags on this hero. Because, that'd mean helping your teammates, which, in our server, John, we don't do that.
God, no.
Mid one?
Of course not.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
SMG, they'll
He
take the
has-
outpost. Yeah.
He has 100% uptime on smoke with Ninja Gear. It's a 35-second duration, 22.5-second cooldown. He is just always smoke.
Oh. that's
He is.
That doesn't seem very fair, Mr. Frog. Moon, well, he's been caught out. Nice disposed, or blow him up. Fu, our Discord, he procced. He's gone. Oh boy, never mind. That was quick. We didn't even get to see it, John. Very
Yeah.
sad.
Very, very sad. Big opening for T1, though. It should allow them to get a bit of a shove in onto the mid.
Dire's middle
Maybe
tower
force a
is under
buyback
attack.
out from Moon. SMG doing what they can, trying to shove in their own waves down bot. But you have great access points for T1 onto the mid, onto the top if they want to. And you're hitting this critical mass on the puck. Octarine core up already for Carl. Has a nice timeless relic for a little bit more stun out on the Dream Coil as well. And level 25 talent up, piercing through those BKBs. So T1 has a lot to play with. And SMG, without buyback and dazzle, feels risky to show up.
Still gonna try mid one, he'll jump in. BKB Wukong's command out. Raging though is already gone. Buyback's coming in now, but they can't hold anyone within the Wukong's command rings. They do catch Kook, or rather Carl, but he's gonna orb out of there just fine. Moon still trying to chase him down on the puck, but phase shift blink away is there.
Is under attack.
The orb out, they cannot keep up with him. Carl is perfectly alive. Everyone else is perfectly alive on T1, and well, buyback's committed, but they'll get nothing for it.
Yeah, it's great play from T1. Threaten on the high ground, force the buybacks, immediately retreat,
Dire's
losing
top
no
tower
one.
is under attack.
And now SMG lose their entire net worth lead. It's down to a 1k advantage, doesn't mean much at this point in the game. Gabby's ahead, has the full Daedalus, his right click damage is ridiculous, especially if Metamorphosis is on, and he does have the Demon Zeal up as well, which we've seen be really impactful in that melee for him. So T1 held out. This is the point of the game where they feel strong. They've got the scaling on the TB. They've got that presence now on Carl, and SMG still struggle to keep anyone within the Wukong's command. The farm is there on mid one, but he can't even use it well.
Double harm shall I
Double damage rune acquired now by Carl. Even scarier here from the puck.
What did Afu refresh? He used it. It's on cooldown.
Oh. What did he use it on, John? Was it... I'm not sure. We'll have to find out very soon. Cuckoo has been caught out.
What?
Major swap, Moon.
How?
They'll keep chasing, and he is. What is it, Jonathan?
The dispose range. That was across the cliff. That's across that little pit. Like, what?
Perfectly balanced here, John. Gabby, no, nice stream call, Carl. Setting up a great team fight. Wukong's out again. Refresh is there. Raging. We're going to try and back off, but oh, Shallow Grave going to make it barely in time. Saving the day as the Hawk dive is there. Carl still trying to snipe him. Whitemon out with the overgrowth. Gabby's going to come back in now. They've still not got the Razor. In fact, Gabby and Mid One still trying to fight. We'll go out at 1v1, but Cuckoo, he's the target as Mid One has the Shallow Grave to protect him, but is it going to last long enough? He'll keep going for the fight here against Gabby, but eventually gets taken down. Moon, he will also be caught out, but he has the Wind Waker trying to make his way out, but look at that dispose. Ultra kill out for Carl.
Yeah, and SMG, they just don't have enough to hold people down. 3 heroes with no buyback on our Razor, and no buyback on Moon. They did just die back here. So, big opening for the high ground. It's Mid One against World. Maybe buying back in Pile Die, but doesn't feel like enough. And T1, they hold this game. They play a lot more passive. SMG also play a lot more passive in comparison to Game 1, which was a calculated mix of aggression. And they'll just go for tier 4s. They understand this.
I mean, this game's over. It's Mid One and Pile Die versing the world here to try and defend this mid racks. Or rather, just tier 4 towers now. Pile Die, or Mid One rather, trying to creep skip, but Carl, he's got the hand up. He wants a high five. Mid One, he's very busy right now. No time for high fives. So he'll turn around and try to fight this one out with the Wukong's command, but Carl is just kind of taunting at this point. In the meantime, Pile Die is gone. GG's called. They're onto the Ancient anyway. And Carl does end up getting Mid One. Game 2 a lot slower than Game 1, Jonathan, but T1, their patience does end up paying off, and they'll force us to a game number 3.
Yeah, they managed to get the game they want, just stall out, get their win conditions built up. And for the side of SMG, it feels like they just didn't get aggressive enough, right? Like, they had a bit of an opening, they found some good aggression going for themselves, and they just didn't run down. And they just allowed this farm game to build up to the point where your Monkey King had issues with keeping people inside Wukong's. You were sort of reliant on kind of keeping everyone in Wukong's. Your 2 supports were sustain-based, and you had the Hex on Pile Die, which is still amazing that he got the farm for that. It's just that it wasn't enough. They had no real team fight to show, whereas for T1, they had a lot of fight, and they just had a lot of farm at the end there.
We'll see how it all pans out, though, for game number 3. We are, of course, going to head off to a very short break, and right after that break, we'll be back with our lovely panel for Game 3's draft. We'll see you then.